In this episode, number 46 of Spooky Coop, Paul and Michelle discuss the strange case of the haunting of the Black Forest in Colorado. Hi everyone, I'm Paul.
And I'm Michelle.
And you're in
The Spooky Coop.
Welcome to the Spooky Coop. Hope you're not chicken. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Michelle.
Hey, Paul.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spooky Coop, the podcast where we wander into the shadows so you don't have to.
Unless you want to.
And let's face it, most of you probably would come with us anyway.
Yeah, you're welcome.
For what?
To always come with us.
For some reason, I was thinking that was a you're welcome to a thank you. Who thanked us for what? Anyway, I'm Paul.
And I'm Michelle.
And tonight, we're heading to the Black Forest in Colorado.
Sounds like a cheesecake.
It does, doesn't it? Delicious. And we're going to discuss many paranormal investigations
that they did there.
See, we...
Keep going.
Anyway, the Lee family house is located in the Black Forest of Colorado, and it isn't a Victorian mansion or a centuries-old castle. It's a family-built home in the early 1990s, a place where an ordinary couple, Steve and Beth Lee, say they experienced years of unexplained activity that affected not only them but their children, visitors, investigators, and even a Native American spiritual elder. The Black Forest sits just northeast of Colorado Springs. It's beautiful country with dense pine forest, open meadows, and plenty of isolation.
Now, I know that a lot of people have seen things about it. There's even a Netflix series about it. But a lot of those embellish the story to make it really, really TV sensational. But Paul and I are going to tell you now the core story, just the facts, ma'am, and stuff like that. Now, the Lees built a cabin in that area. They built it because they wanted their own beautiful home in this beautiful valley. It was their dream home. Nothing about the property at all suggested that it would become famous in paranormal the paranormal enthusiasts. It was just beautiful land, and they thought, wow, let's live here.
At first, everything seemed normal, but then small things started to happen. Doors opening on their own, footsteps were heard when no one was walking around, strange sounds, odd chemical smells that gave all of them sore throats. Thank you for the sound effects, my dear. Objects disappearing, then appearing, sometimes days later. Can you do that with money for us?
You mean make it appear or just lose it?
Appear.
We're good at losing it.
Oh, dear. Nothing dramatic happened, but it was enough to make you stop and ask, did you hear that? Did you smell that? What was that?
Yeah, but according to Steve and Beth and their kids, the activity became like impossible to ignore, and it just kept getting worse. It simply just got more frequent and more intense. For example, the doors opening all of a sudden became also cabinet doors, opening and slamming, and the lights started flickering and going on and off and on and off. They checked the electricity, that was fine. Objects that were disappearing and reappearing weren't just reappearing where they left them. It wasn't like, hey, I put the car keys on the table and then all of a sudden they were there again. It was, I put the car keys on the table and then they found them in some impossible place they could have never been in. And family members started hearing voices. They said they saw, quote, transparent faces. Not sure what that means. They tried to describe it, but it was never described exactly right. They could feel hot spots and cold spots, especially cold spots. They saw shadow figures. They were describing physical contact, like people were touching them. Even the kids started saying all this stuff. One could say that It might have been their imagination or a group hallucination that the parents were saying to the kids or something. But visitors would come over and they'd find the same thing. They'd feel the same thing. They'd hear the same thing. They'd smell the same smells. They'd see the cabinets moving and things. And so it was really hard to deny that this stuff was happening.
And that's one reason this case attracted attention. It wasn't just one person telling a story, it was many people describing similar experiences. One of the most unsettling aspects involved the children. The Lees said their children described seeing people in their rooms. Sometimes they talked about visitors that adults couldn't see. Other times they refused to sleep alone. Now, children have vivid imaginations, nightmares happen, sleep paralysis exists, but the parents believe there was something more occurring. It wasn't long before word spread. Soon, paranormal investigators began visiting. Some reported electronic voice phenomena, unexplained sounds, equipment malfunctions, and sensations of being watched. Others left convinced the house was haunted. Still, others found nothing conclusive. That's fairly common in paranormal investigations.
Yeah, but the fact that some found something, I think a lot of times, Paul, it depends on if the person doing the investigation has the energy to invoke or bring on
That's right.
the spirits.
During our work in the NAPRS, the Northeastern Paranormal Research Society, we found that if you had, depending on the number of people along who were psychic and who were not, we would get different results.
Right.
And
Even if go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Even if the people we brought along were not skeptics, but they didn't have sort of the energy around them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
even if they believed.
Right.
Anyway, one of the most interesting chapters in the story involved the Hopi elder that they brought onto the property. Like ghost hunters carrying cameras and EMF meters, he was different. This elder approached the whole thing from a spiritual perspective that a Hopi elder would. And according to the Lees, he walked the land quietly before offering his impression. He reported that he believed the disturbances were simply ghosts.
Weren't simply.
Weren't simply. I am so sorry. He said they're not ghosts. They're not the things you think they are. He insisted that the property contained powerful spiritual energy and certain forces were present there, an ancient force not easily understood by current humans. And the elder said that that explained some of the stuff that was going on. And it was generational spirits from I'm having one of those days. Anyway, it became clear to him that he believed that these spiritual things were dependent on a worldwide view. And just like we were saying, that
Well, more a person's personal worldview.
yeah, personal worldview, but the medicine man was very clear, regardless of the Lee's belief. He said that it has to be treated with respect, not confrontational. Rather than trying to provoke it, he encouraged to live with harmony with it. He said that he had to do a ritual. Now, Paul and I tried to research what this ritual was exactly, and accounts we found differed, and we didn't find one exact account that was more frequently posted or more frequently detailed. So we're not sure what exact was. I am so sorry. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. We couldn't find the exact thing that was performed. So the Lees, but nevertheless, the Lees believed what he said, and they believed that it would help them understand better. But even though it didn't really do much, it didn't stop the activity.
Whenever anyone discusses anything, it's important to look at alternative explanations. For example, the Black Forest has widely fluctuating temperatures. Ha! Swamp gas.
Swamp gas.
The home was a newly built log.
Fog.
Fog. Green fog. The home
Ducks.
was ducks. Stop it.
See, I can do that.
The home was a newly built log cabin, and maybe it was expanding or contracting as it settled. Stress can affect perception as well.
Yeah.
And memory changes over time.
Yeah, and they said wildlife, the skeptic said wildlife. For example, a fox, especially during breeding season, can sound like a baby crying. But then again, they never reported babies in the woods.
Right. Now, on the other hand, not every reported experience on the Lee's property has an obvious scientific explanation, at least one that has been found. People usually know the difference between the sounds we mentioned, and many of the things that were heard in the Lee's home would be hard to explain with the usual suspected causes.
And 3 decades later, people are still talking about it. Now, usually if something is a skeptical thing, people let it go. But it's not because people are proving that ghosts existed there. It's not because everyone said, oh my God, there's ghosts there, but because the family and other people, visitors and stuff, they have consistently shared their experiences over many years. They welcomed investigators. They answered difficult questions. They never claimed that they had all the answers. They have stuck to their perceptions and to what they believe happened there. And that is a strong indicator that the story is not a made-up story.
Now, one thing that many people may not know is that Stephen Lee, he came up with his own conclusion as to what was really happening at the cabin.
Yeah, and it's really an interesting thing. It's totally different than anybody else's.
Yeah. The conclusion he came to and completely and wholeheartedly believes is that to this day his family was the subject of a government experiment that was being conducted out of a nearby military base, probably Schriever Space Force Base, which is only 17 miles from the property. There are only a few Space Force bases.
And they're all in that area, I think.
No, they're spread in 3 different places.
Oh.
I have researched this. I don't know where the third one is, but I know where the second one is actually in Bedford,
not far
New
from
Hampshire.
us.
Bedford, New Hampshire, not far
There's
from
one.
us.
There's a Space Force Academy where people learn about 7 miles from his house too.
A training facility.
Training facility.
Yeah. So his theory is an interesting one.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, I wouldn't by any means discount it, and I given the data, I wouldn't be surprised you or I thinking this either.
We've had our run-in with. Well, let's not go there.
We won't go there. No.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that many people may not know. Oh.
He believes his family was given some sort of substance.
Yeah, that's pretty spooky. He believes that his family was given some sort of substance or substances or other brain-altering agent like a radiotype interference agent and were used as human guinea pigs for laser holographic, biological, and psychic warfare research.
That was his exact quote, too. His exact quote were laser, holograph, biological, and psychic warfare research. He felt that they were doing all of those.
That's a pretty terrifying thing. But then after the MK Ultra experiments, you can't discount anything.
You know you can't.
Those yahoos in the intelligence industry, they'll do anything and everything
Yeah.
without conscience. Okay. He also.
I think they might be still doing some.
I would be surprised if they stopped.
Yeah, I would too.
They don't stop those sorts of things. They just put them underground and relabel them. Anyway, he also claimed that he saw men in military uniforms with assault rifles on his property several times, and he believes some of the lights he saw in the distance may have been their long-range viewing scopes as they spied on his family.
That's creepy, and that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
At least scary, yeah. There's a potential bullet behind that light.
yeah.
When asked why they would be interested in his family, he explained that he didn't know when the house was built, but it was on a very powerful vortex.
He didn't know it when the house was built.
Sorry, did I misphrase it? Sorry,
Yeah.
I misspoke. That he didn't know when it was. Now I'm tongue-tied. Anyway,
He didn't know it.
He didn't know the house was when the house was built, but it was on a very powerful vortex, and the military was studying its effects.
Now, I wonder when he said vortex if he means edge. Did we ever talk about edges in our,
Yes,
in our podcast?
we have in the past.
But we didn't go into a lot of detail.
We didn't go into a lot of detail, but one of the things that I recall a note saying that, I don't know if the Hopi elder that they had there
Talk to them about edges.
said these exact words, but it is either phrased what he said or rephrased as there is a time space tear or a rip in time space fabric that allowed things to come from another dimension back and forth.
Yeah.
And that describes what we
An
know
edge.
as an edge between this realm or
And-
physical reality and
and
another
others.
one.
And that could easily be called a vortex.
Right.
Yeah, that's
When
interesting.
earlier ones where we talked about little people and other types of animals, like Sasquatch animals, I shouldn't say animals, other types of people and
Yeah.
beings come across what we know to be an edge.
Right.
And I just want to mention here that some of the video, if you come across some of the documentaries, there are a couple of cuts of video that they have of lights dancing as they approach their house, and one of probably the largest orb ever recorded inside of their house, and it's quite compelling. And I remember when I saw those lights, that video of the lights dancing up, it was exactly like what we encountered in Little Dickerman Forest here over 28 years ago now, and where the lights danced around. They reflected gold yellow light, not green yellow light like fireflies do, and they would speed up and slow down and move in funny circles like they were dancing, but all moving in a progression towards something. And it was, and I remember looking at the screen and yelling at you and pointing, going, "Look, little people." That's what they've got. They've got a little people problem.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too about considering orbs, and I'm just talking about orbs in general. People often think orbs are dust in front of your camera, and so they'll say, "Oh, look, that's an orb. It's dust."
Quite right. We should clarify that the large orb, the orbs they had were these big balls of light, brilliant gold light, and big, and they would sit there. This one big orb was sitting right in front of their camera, and then it shot down in a blink. Whoosh, you could see it move downward. It was remarkable. It wasn't just a dust speck. It was a huge yellow glob of multicolored sort of goldish tones. It was
Right.
beautiful.
But we also should point out that when we were doing the NEPRS and we were ghost hunting, we often got pictures of orbs that were behind things.
Yes.
So they could not have been in front of our camera. We had gone out a lot to different places, haunted houses, cemeteries, such things. And we got orbs in the daytime,
Yes.
which cannot be flash of your camera on reflections of dust.
Right.
So orbs, admittingly, some orbs, probably a majority of orbs, are light off of dust. But there are orbs that are something else, because we have photographics of orbs behind objects and in the daytime.
And we have video of orbs flying around as well.
Right. We have video of orbs coming out of people.
So, would you stay overnight in this place?
I don't know.
With no cameras, no investigators, just you, the house, and one very long night?
I don't know. I'd like to stay overnight with a camera.
Well, you and I would.
Yeah.
We'd go.
How about a cup of tea?
Unless another event happens where a knife flies across the room.
Another one.
So I'm not that. I draw the line.
Yeah. We'd have to have knives and forks out of the place.
Yeah.
And I'd bring a snack. I'd have to bring a snack.
Fair
Or
point.
to stay awake.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
Yeah, something like, I don't know, chocolate covered raisins, maybe some grapes. Oh, and a Kit Kat. Have to bring a Kit Kat. Yep.
Snacks and food aside.
Yep, yep. It fascinates me most about this case is that it isn't necessarily whether or not the story is totally true. It's how ordinary people try to make sense of extraordinary experiences. Whether those experiences are paranormal, psychological, or psychological extraordinary experiences, whether those experiences make sense to them. The human spirit learns to cope, at least for as long as it can cope, before it says, I'm selling this place and I'm out of here.
Right. Cases like the Lee haunting remind us that the greatest mysteries often happen in the places we expect them least, our own homes.
Hey, Paul, I was thinking, now this is kind of off the cuff, but I was thinking, whatever happened to that place after they left? Was it torn down or anything?
Actually, I do.
You do know?
I do know. It was sold to another family, and though no one knows their name for their own privacy, they've said to the press that they have not had even one paranormal or strange event.
Isn't
Nothing
that just
even close.
Isn't that just like the Amityville place or something?
So typical. One caution to our listeners, and this is important for anybody who the place is sort of well known in the area. Don't bother going there. The original access road no longer leads to the home. There's a new road that's well hidden with tons of security, and there are criminal trespass warnings, which we are told are strictly enforced, including and up to jail time.
Wow. Now that's harsh. I mean, that is harsh. They must have had a lot of people try to get in there. I mean, because it is out in the middle of nowhere, people probably figure, oh, I can get in there, no big deal. And, they probably had problems to enforce it all the way like that.
Do you really want to surprise some people who are living on their own in a backwoods cabin?
Yeah, I'm sure they have a lot of guns.
No, they don't have a gun. No, they've got nothing to defend themselves from.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or anything else. Nosy paranormal investigators.
Anyway, if you had an experience you can't explain, or
we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we would. And if you enjoyed today's story in this episode, just
please follow us.
Yeah.
Please. We need followers.
Yeah, and tell your friends. It doesn't cost you a penny to follow us. It's free, and it does wonderful things for us. And leave a review, and please make it a good review, or, that would be nice. Share the show with your friends and families and believers or non-believers. It doesn't matter.
Because around here, everyone's welcome, whether you believe in ghosts, don't believe in ghosts, or you're just hoping they help with the dishes.
Yeah, that would be good if they helped with ours.
Yeah, until next time, sleep with one eye open. And if you're ever house hunting in the Black Forest, don't go there. Maybe ask whether the previous owners are moving out or just moving upstairs.
I still don't know what that means.
It's a quip. It's just a quip, a humorous quip.
Okay.
So, Michelle, thank you. So until next time.
When we see you,
be good and have a great week. Everybody stay safe.
Yep.
Until we see you in the Spooky Coop. You spoke right after the end.
No, I want to leave that in.
Okay. No editing. Raw.
Wow.